Sup nerds, here's my profile for the potential best deck of the BT14 format. Starting off with our Tama, we have 4 Kyarumon from BT6. Your turn, once per turn, one of your opponent's Digimon's Digivolution cards is trash, draw one. We don't play the new Bukamon. You don't swing with your rookies, except against certain matchups where they don't have any impact on them. But your rookies are Floodgate rookies that don't actually swing, they just sit there and stun your opponent as much as possible. So you're not looking to get jamming. And onto our rookies, we are playing 4 Bokamon from BT7. White rookie, on play, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add a Tamer and a Hybrid, and then put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And then your turn, once per turn, one of your Tamers Digivolves, gain 2 memory. So this is just a free Hybrid Evo every turn that he stays in play, and one of the best searchers slash starters of the deck. And then onto our blue rookies, we have 4 Syakomon from BT5. Opponent's turn, your opponent can't reduce Digivolution cost. This is going to be one of the best floodgates of the format, because this stops the training cards from reducing Evo cost. And it also is really good against other hybrid decks because it keeps their level 5s from Evoing for 1 memory. But yeah, this is definitely going to be the best floodgate class of this next format. There are a few colors that have access to this rookie. Highly recommend putting some in your deck if you don't already have some. And then our next rookie, we are playing 4 Madoki Betamon from BT6. All turns, your opponent can't gain memory except with Tamer effects. This stops like memory boost and things like that. Ideally, you'd probably want a can't play Digimon by effects Floodgate rookie, but sadly blue doesn't have access to one, or I guess it's probably a good thing, honestly. This is the second best Floodgate rookie you can play, and there's not really a better option for other rookies, because we don't really want to play Strabimon or anything like that. And that is it. We were just playing 12 rookies. On to our champions. Oops, all hybrids. So we are playing 4 Kumamon from BT7. You can Evo this guy on top of a blue Tamers if it were level 3, Evos for 2 on either. And then when Digivolving, trash 1 source on the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. This triggers whether he evos on top of a Tamer or a blue rookie, so that's really cool. This is just extra source strip, and there's not really a better secondary level 4 for this deck. And then of course we were playing 4 Ikakumon from BT7 as well. Evos on top of an actual rookie for 3, Evos on top of level 4 for 1. And then he evos on top of blue Tamers for 2. When Digivolving, if there is a Hybrid or a Tommy underneath him, one of your opponent's Digimon that has no sources is stunned for the turn, so it can't block or attack until the end of your opponent's turn. This is really good for just stun locking your opponent. These are the only 2 hybrids we play in this deck. A lot of people are playing Lanamon. One, you don't really need jamming in this deck. You don't really care if your stacks die. I mean, I say stacks, but you don't really care if your level 5 dies to a security check, because it already got like so much value out of it. And also, we're only playing 8 blue rookies that you can trigger Lanamon's effect with anyway. So I think Lanamon's a trap. I don't think it's good. You need the rookies that you see, because you're not going to see all 8 of them every game. So I disagree with people who are playing Lanamon. I think it's super unnecessary and kind of a waste of resources in my opinion. That is it, just 8 champions. On to our level 5s. We're of course playing 4 Beowulf from BT7. Evos for 3 on top of a level 4, but if there's a Tamer in the sources, it reduces the cost by 2, so it Evos for 1. This is what's going to be really good for the Syakomon. Syakomon will stop this from Evoing for 1, which is really nice. And then when attacking, you may return 1 card with Hybrid in its traits from his sources to bounce a level 4 or lower on your opponent's side of the field to their hand. Really good for recycling your 8 hybrids in this deck. You get to use probably like 10 hybrids in a long game. Which is a little unfair considering you're only playing 8. He's definitely the best primary level 5 with one playing the deck. Onto our secondary level 5, we are playing 4 Zudomon from BT14. Just pretend these empty sleeves are 3 additional Zudos. 4 play cost, 8000 DP, Evos on top of level 4 for 3. He does have the Blast Digivolve effect that all aces do have, which means if your opponent swings at your security or a Digimon, they resolve all of their when attacking effects first, and then you have a counter window that you can blast Evo into this guy on top of level 4 for free, and then the blocking timing would happen after that. So you get to basically, this is a hand trap essentially in this game, which is really cool. Interaction on your opponent's turn is definitely an improvement in my opinion. And then his on play / when Digivolving effect is trash any 2 Digivolution cards from your opponent's Digimon. So the way this is worded, it works where you can trash 1 source from 2 different Digimon if you want, or 2 from the same Digimon, and it can be any 2 sources. So like if they have 1 card that's actually providing their stack protection, you just strip that one, and then they don't have protection anymore, which is pretty cool. Then return 1 of your opponent's Digimon with no sources to their hand. So this guy can potentially just pop down strip 2 sources and bounce whatever they swung with, and then just the attack doesn't resolve, which is pretty sick. And this has overflow, which all ace cards do, which means when this card would move from the battle area to anywhere else, you lose 3 memory. This one is -3. Some of the megas are -4. So this happens if he ever leaves the area, whether he's a source, underneath something. Like if he goes from the battle area to anywhere else, you immediately lose 3 memory, which is a good way of balancing these cards. If he did not have the ace overflow effect, I think he'd probably just be absolutely broken. But yeah, this actually turns this deck from a stun deck into a potential stun, source strip, bounce deck. But that is it. We were just playing 8 ultimates. On to our level 6s. We are playing 3 Mirage Galgamon from BT11. Evos for 4. When Digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to their hand. If nothing was bounced with this effect, you add the top card of their security to their hand. So this is actually cool. If they have something with a protection effect that keeps the bouncing effect from resolving, it just puts the top card of their security to their hand. So either way, they're adding a card to their hand unless they have no security. And then all turns once per turn, when an effect adds cards to your opponent's hand, gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand. Basically, this guy's never going to be more than a 3 to Evo, assuming your opponent doesn't have a Madoki Betamon on the field or something like that. And it's cool that it is all turns, because you can potentially like lock somebody down with one of your 2 rookies or both of them, and then a Mirage on the field, and like they have no way of like unlocking themselves from the stock, because if they add a card to their hand, that just passes turn a lot of the time. It's really good to randomly kill your opponent when they don't expect you to have the ability to, because you can just burn them for a security, and that's an extra swing you don't have to do. But yeah, very good. You don't need to play 4. You see it often enough at 3 to where 4 is kind of cloggy. On to our tamers. You guessed it. For Tommy Himi, fresh out the pen. He is a 3-cost tamer, recently unrestricted, was on the ban list for about a year and a half. On play, trash 3 sources from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. And then he also has a when attacking inheritable once per turn until the end of your opponent's turn. One of your opponent's Digimon with no sources can't attack or block. So Evo into Korikaku on top of this guy, stun something, swing with Korikaku, stun something else, yada yada yada. You guys know how this works if you played in BT7 or BT8. This guy is very, very annoying. Stripping 3 sources on play is pretty nasty, especially with ace cards in the format, because if your opponent has an ace card, you can potentially play this guy, strip their aces, and that triggers the overflow effect. And then this guy basically gets paid for free, which is pretty nasty. And then we're playing 4 Davis Motomiya from BT3. He is a memory setter. And then on play, reveal the top 3 cards to your deck, add a blue and green Digimon to your hand, place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. This is very good because he is a search effect that also sets us to 3. And once you play one, it's basically just an extra body. So like him and Tommy are your ideal tamers to Evo on top of. Obviously you can Evo on any of them, but these two, like once they come into play, they've pretty much gotten their value. Obviously this guy sets your memory, but other than that, especially if you have multiple out, like you'd want to start Evoing on these guys because having additional copies on the field doesn't do anything. And then our next blue tamer, we are playing 4 Sora and Joe from BT5. Start of your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon with no sources in play, gain 2 memory. And then your turn, when you attack with a blue Digimon, you may suspend this tamer to trash the bottom 2 sources of one of your opponent's Digimon. So this adds the source trip potential of this deck and the stunning, as well as just gaining buku amounts of memory if your opponent can't play around this card. Basically, once your opponent goes to a level 6 or level 7 and you stun lock it, you can just guarantee 2 extra memory every single turn unless they have a way of clearing their own cards. But yeah, that's it. Just 12 tamers. These are the best blue tamers I'd want to play, so I just want to max out on all of them. And onto our option cards. We, of course, are playing the obligatory one of Ice Wall. Main all of your opponent's Digimon, gain when attacking, lose 2 memory until the end of their next turn. Pretty broken. Securities gain 2 memory. This can potentially keep your opponent from lethaling you for like that 1 extra turn. That's basically all it's good for, is just buying yourself 1 additional turn, which in this game is pretty much all you need sometimes. And then we're of course playing 4 mental trainings. Pretend like these 3 empty sleeves are 3 copies of mental training. So 2 cost option, main, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 blue card among them, put the rest on the bottom of your deck. So this card can add Digimon, tamers, and option cards. So you can training into training, which is really cool. And then main delay, you can't use this the turn it goes into play, but other than that, you're always welcome to activate it. You can trash this card to trigger one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a blue Digimon Digimon card in your hand for its cost, and then reduce the Evo cost by 2. For those of you that do not know, you cannot use this to Evo a tamer into a hybrid. The Digimon has to be a Digimon on the field recognized by the game. The only thing that treats your tamers as blue Digimon are the hybrid effects while they're in your hand. So like this guy does not see your tamers as Digimon, so you cannot trigger this to Evo into a hybrid for free. But this lets you Evo on top of your rookies for free, or reduce it by 2. Lets you Evo into your ultimates by reducing it by 2, and your megas. So it's really good searching power. Obviously you'd want tamers and Digimon in your hand. So yeah, this is one of the best cards they could have added to hybrid decks, despite the inability to activate it to Evo into a hybrid for free. And then our last two options, we are playing 2 Full Moon Meteor Impact from BT13, 8 cost option. Main, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the hand, then gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand. This bare minimum is going to be gaining you at least 1 memory back. So this is basically power creep Kakaitis Breath, just straight up. Insecurity is return one of your opponent's Digimon to the hand. What's cool about this is if you have a Mirage on the field and you activate this, depending on what point you're at in the game and how many cards your opponent has in their hand, this could potentially be like basically free, especially if there's an ace card involved in this interaction. You like net gain memory off of activating the 8 cost option, which is pretty sick. Also, almost forgot, the security effect of the training cards is to just put them in play, so you just have access to them. But that is it for the options. We are just playing 7. I do think this is one of the top 3 decks of the upcoming format. I think anyone that doesn't consider it so is sleeping on it, and they probably just haven't played against a good version. But if you guys have any questions or anything I didn't address, feel free to put them down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer anything. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. Want to come back for more. But until next time, see ya.